Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Welcome back to This Just In Radio Show, broadcasting live from HIMSS 25 in the AMD booth in sunny Las Vegas. Very excited to introduce my next guest, a new friend of the show, Matthew Dietz, AI and security leader with Cisco. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Happy to be here, and thank you for allowing me to join.
You got it, always. So first of all, when did you get in town?
So I arrived, 2 days ago, basically at midnight, which is 3 a.m. my time.
Yes.
So from Indiana, so coming from the East Coast, it's a little bit hectic.
Yeah, we came in on Sunday and had a 24-hour day. By the time we left, and got here, and then we had an event that night, Sunday night. It was a 24-hour day.
Hey, it makes it's a good time, though.
It does. It's always a great time out here. So what are some of your goals for being here?
So one of the goals that I think I'm really trying to focus on is finding out exactly what a lot of customers are looking for these days. AI is changing everything, and it's kind of changed the way not only companies like Cisco and AMD are looking at healthcare, but also healthcare providers themselves, and also understanding where they're looking at how they can increase patient care. How can they improve that in new and exciting ways?
Yep. What are some of your goals specifically with some companies? I mean, obviously you're here with AMD, but what are some of your specific goals that you want to do, and what companies would you want to work with in that regard?
Obviously AMD is one of them. So we're truly excited about the partnership we have with launching our new 9300 series Catalyst switches with the AMD DPU, which is going to allow us to do some really amazing security type applications in the AI space, and it's going to start driving very low latency type applications in data centers everywhere. But there's numerous different companies. I don't want to call any out specifically, but just seeing how we can collaborate, because going at this and taking a stab at the AI age, we can't do it alone. It has to be a collaborative approach, and so trying to figure out who are the new market leaders, who's trying something new and interesting, and how can we partner. Excellent,
love it. So what's some of the progress that you're most excited to seeing in the industry today?
I think understanding how to leverage AI. So it's not just AI itself, that's been around for quite a bit, but honestly seeing how to actually leverage it and drive business outcomes, and outcomes that actually have impacts in people's lives, such as patient care, personalized care, being able to leverage AI to start driving a very specific personalized care for a patient is very, very amazing, and it's exciting to see.
Yep, I completely agree, and that's come up on a couple of my shows, and I'm very excited about having, even the last guest, we're talking about having the digital twin, and it's basically the personalized medicine that comes along with that. We're not to be, I say the word guinea pig, we don't have to be guinea pig as much as we're going to know exactly, we'll have our genome sequence, our bionome, and we'll actually know what treatments are right for us and the very best care. Our doctors, they know a lot of that, but even my a couple guests ago brought up, I forget the exact stat, but basically, it takes us 15 years to learn as much as we can now learn in 74 days in healthcare because of GenAI, something like that. So what that means to us for care, what that means for us as a patient, also our whole care team, clinicians, it's significant. So
and I think there's a point to be made there is not only are we going to be able to give that information to a lot of our healthcare providers about our history, our genetics, but also ourselves. I mean, there's no way I could tell you what my predispositions are for certain ailments or anything like that, and so being able to have that knowledge in the palm of your hand is truly exciting.
I did 23andMe about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's pretty fascinating. It's spot on. I think everything that comes out, even if they keep asking me these questionnaires, and I fill them out, and everything's always spot on. So your genome tells you a lot.
It absolutely does.
It's pretty perfect in that regard. What healthcare or digital health trends are you seeing in the industry today? We talked a little bit about AI, but what else you got?
Security. So obviously, over the past couple of years, we've seen many security events, and it's
absolutely,
it's kind of going hand in kind of lockstep, because as we start gathering all this data to start driving a lot of these AI initiatives, all that data is now a potential source of leaks, attacks, and so all these different AI driven initiatives that are exciting, those AI capabilities are also in the hands of a lot of our adversaries, and so we need to make sure that we're taking a proactive approach now and moving towards like a zero trust model. And so that's what I'm seeing a lot in the industry is moving to zero trust. It's not an option anymore, and understanding that we need to have a hyper dispersed security platform, because our entire environment is now very, very hyper dispersed because of AI.
Right. So following up on that, what's a few trends or best practices to navigate that, and how would someone step into that, dip the toe in the water there?
So one of the best trends and best first steps is to look at the data, how you're going to capture it, and what's your data governance policies. How are you going to handle capturing, who's going to have access, really start approaching it from the ground up rather than rushing to just do AI and then trying to figure out your data. Start with the data, figure out how you're actually going to have compliance standards around it, governance standards, and security at the forefront. And then once you have that foundation, building up to, actual AI applications is going to be extremely easy.
So that governance structure, who's involved in the governance structure?
So that's going to be a lot of your CISOs. You're also your chief policy officers. So it's going to vary by different companies, different industries, but it's going to have a very high level of different security, but policy, but also individuals like HR and different IT focuses, because they need to actually implement these governance policies and these controls. So it's going to involve quite a few different people, which is different because before AI has always been and technology has always been IT focused. We're seeing a huge shift now where business leaders and your C-level folks are now engaged in all these conversations.
Yep, excellent, great point. So what markets, so healthcare is your market, what other markets do you have in Cisco?
So I come from government,
Okay.
so I focus on government as well as education, healthcare, and dabble a little bit in finance and manufacturing, but a little bit of everything from a global perspective.
Excellent. Well, I think healthcare is a lot of fun though, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the best conferences I've ever been to. This is my first time here, and just meeting different people, different walks of life, and understanding that everyone is looking at technology not just to implement, but can we leverage this to drive a positive impact in people's lives?
Absolutely.
And that's something special. That's something that is very unique to healthcare.
Yeah, and I agree. This is my 25th HIMSS. But this room is full of people who are literally trying to create a better ecosystem, for themselves, for their families, for their companies too. But really, it's all personal. Healthcare is all personal. We're patients, all
Well, I mean, everyone has had a family member themselves have a medical event, has struggled in that regard, and I think it's something that everyone can resonate with, and that's why it has, the legs to continue on it and kind of be one of the first industries that really start leveraging AI for good.
Yep. Love it. What do you think, putting on the proverbial crystal ball hat and then looking into the crystal ball, what do you see as a trend or strategy we need to be able to navigate in 2 to 3 years from now?
So a couple that are coming down the line, I think, is going to be around an advanced type of security. So we're at the age now of kind of deep fakes. Being able to, I always tell my wife, give me 15 seconds, I can clone your voice.
Yep.
I can clone your mannerisms in a minute video. There's things that are out there that pose real threats, but we're also going to see, on the flip side, very sophisticated AI-powered cybersecurity tools. And then, when it comes to actual trends in healthcare, I think in a couple of years is going to be around that personalized care. One of the models that Google is actually looking at releasing is around their Titan model.
Yep.
And what this is it's allowing them to release a model that learns during inferencing, which take that into, from concept to reality. What that would do is basically say, my watch on my wrist soon will be able to understand everything about my past, prior, and current health, and then be able to communicate that to my healthcare providers. And so we're going to see a much more connected experience with our healthcare providers, and it's not in any way meant to take jobs. What it's doing is actually making a lot of the doctors' responsibilities, nurses, all of our healthcare professionals' jobs much, much easier, because now, instead of spending so much time trying to figure out who and why, they have it at their fingertips, and that's exciting.
That is good. So do you want to clone, you must really love your wife if you want to clone her voice.
Oh, absolutely. She's.
I don't want to clone my wife's voice.
She's my alarm. It's okay. So, it gets me. No, yeah. It's just, it's so funny because she's very excited about AI, and then I have to introduce the dark side of it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, my last guest brought that up, and and I've known him for a long time, but he talked about how, I brought up the digital twin, but then he talked about, and then the security behind the digital twin, who has access to the digital twin, and then what nefarious can happen with that too, which is a good point, because I see only all the opportunity for the digital twin, but then obviously the security and privacy behind that is significant, because there's a lot in that digital twin. So.
Absolutely, and that's it goes back to kind of what I spoke about earlier around the DPU-powered switches.
Yes.
Because right now, everyone is talking, has been talking, or should have been talking about zero trust. And zero trust is all about figuring out what devices, what users are doing what, where, and when, and constantly monitoring them. But with the rise of AI agents, Now that implicit trust is being handed to AI agents,
Right.
and so now we're not just sitting here looking at what our users and devices doing. Now we have to wonder and monitor what these AI agents are doing. So as much power as they bring, it's also another leg that we have to make sure we secure.
Yeah, excellent point. Matthew Dietz, Cisco, thank you for joining the show, my friend.
Oh,
Appreciate
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent.